The global markets are tanking because an insecure, convicted felon con man wants businesses to be beholden to him. He wants them to beg him. He wants to be in a position of forced power because that's how insecure he is. Put up this first video.
Will, because if they got in, the entire economy would collapse. This country was heading for a collapse under the people that you saw. They were horrible. I think.
All right, this country was not heading for a collapse. Put up the next slide. Here we have Biden's economic legacy, 16.6 million jobs created. Unemployment went from 14.1% to 4.1%. The S&P up several thousand points. The Dow Jones up over 10,000 points. This was the legacy, but don't talk to me about this. Listen to the Wall Street Journal headline a few days before the election. They say the next president inherits a remarkable economy. The high quality of recent economic growth should put a wind at the back of the White House's next occupant. This was October 31st, 2024, just a few months ago. Tailwinds. That's all he had to do. And I remember, Pumps, we were all so worried that he was going to go in and then start taking credit for Biden's economy. And what he's doing is exactly what he campaigned on doing, which is this harebrained tariff bullshit. And the reason he's doing it is because he wants all of these businesses to beg him because he likes the power, he likes the cruelty, and he doesn't give a shit about anybody's 401ks, and nobody in his administration does because they're all billionaires.
The biggest myth ever perpetuated on society is that Donald Trump is a good businessman. He bankrupted casinos. It's impossible to bankrupt casinos. He is now going to bankrupt Americans, farmers, blue-collar workers, people that are upper echelon economically. They're going to go to shit because the stock market's tanking. And I'm with you. If he's not doing it on purpose, it's beyond anything I've ever seen.
He's 100% doing it on purpose. He campaigned on this. He said he was going to do this, the tariffs, but all of the Wall Street bros get triggered and their lizard brain starts going when he starts doing this tough guy macho talk, and they resort to their default setting, and then he wins and the stock market is going up, and now he's raining hellfire because this is an attack on democracy. He's already owns the legislature. None of these Republicans are going to stand up to him. He's bullying the shit out of the judiciary, and now he's going after businesses. Look at what he's done with these law firms. He wants to force everybody to worship him, which is the weakest thing on the planet. Okay, next up, this is the guy that these tens of millions of Americans voted for. And I just want to play this because he says this shit all the time. Here's a video of him still struggling to understand what groceries are and that he believes it's an old-fashioned thing.
But likewise, an old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it in the campaign. It's such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term, groceries. It sort of says a bag with different things in it.
A bag with different things in it. He doesn't understand this because he's never been grocery shopping. He is the son of a multimillionaire. He inherited $500 million. His BFF and full-time nanny, Elon Musk, son of a multimillionaire, never been grocery shopping. These menial tasks are handled for them by the people that work for them. They have no idea. These guys have never had to work hard for something in their lives. It's dumb luck and conning. This is a con man, flea bag administration to the highest order. And now all of these Wall Street bros are finding out, and their phones are ringing off the hook because guess what's happening to the global markets? It is trillions upon trillions of dollars. The red line is going straight down. This is the worst case scenario, a total disaster, because the tens of millions of people in this country knew that he was a convicted felon, a liar, and a con man, and said, you know what? I don't care. I'm voting for him anyway.
Well, some people are so cruel and they want to hate people, and Trump allows them to hate people. Fox News feeds their hate and rage and victimhood. And this is what you get. When you don't think about anybody but yourself, everybody loses.
And I think the biggest myth, if you think back to when I showed you what Biden's economy did, you have all of these upper middle class white Americans that have clung onto this completely debunked bullshit lie that Republicans are great with the economy, that they're fiscally conservative. And every single time that proves to not be true. They wreck the economy. They wreck the stock market. They have depleted the middle class. And they like to go around and take these victory laps that we're so good at business. They're simply not. Biden's economy was so good because he was surrounded by economic experts. Let me show you who Trump is surrounded by. Here is the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, last night being grilled by the media, and listen to his answers.
Baseline tariffs come into effect first, then there are reciprocal tariffs, a little bit more of a different rate for each individual trading partner. Are you preparing to negotiate with some of these trading partners before that tariff rate comes into effect on April 9th?
Well, I think there have been a lot of discussions, but I think we're just going to have to wait and see what would happen. What I would say, Anne-Marie, is I would advise none of the countries to panic. I wouldn't try to retaliate, because as long as you don't retaliate, this is the high end of the number. And I think the market could have certainty that this is the number barring retaliation. So we've got a ceiling, and then we can see if there's a different floor.
Okay, this is word salad. BS. And Trump is surrounded by some guys that think that they know more than everybody else, that shun experts. This is like the Facebook comment section presidency come to life. And you have all of these idiots. You have the people in the cult that voted for him because they have been propagandized by right-wing media, their religion, etc. And then you have the smarter ones that know better, like this guy. And there's some broken insecurity that I believe everybody in Trump's cabinet shares, a trauma bond, if you will. And they want to exact pain, cruelty, and exert control for sport over the American public and the global economic system.
I find it so rich that they're all talking about, well, don't retaliate. We want to do whatever the fuck we want to do, but we want you not to retaliate. We want you to sit there and take it. These other countries are not going to sit there and take it. You already see Korea, Japan, China bonding together, those three bonding together economically against the United States. That's going to happen worldwide. And what we're going to find out is when you drive a clown car of stupid, you get a lot of stupid results. And I promise you, every American is going to feel the economic impact of dipshit America. Orange man.
Not only all of this, you guys, but in the Rose Garden, I'm going to spare you from playing the clip where Trump holds up a poster board with the font so small nobody can read it, and he has a show and tell. He's listed countries where there's no population, and he's also listed countries where the only occupants in that country are like these little island nations or American military bases. It's harebrained from top to bottom. But guess which countries are not listed on this? North Korea, Russia, Belarus, all of the people that he wants to unite with. No retaliatory tariffs there. All right, next up, we have Tim Walz, and I think he explains this very well. He's basically suggesting that Trump peaked in the 80s. And I have always noticed that a lot of broken people that I've experienced and come across in my adult life, you can tell what era they peaked in because they're always still so nostalgic by it. So let's listen to Tim Walz eviscerate Trump.
inconceivable. Look, Chris, I don't know. You almost have to be an amateur psychologist on this. It's like Trump is stuck in the 80s. His music, his clothing, his thinking. He has been on this tariff thing forever, and every economist, conservative or liberal, will tell you they just simply don't work. We use them strategically, but he doesn't fundamentally understand how trade works. It goes back to what I continue to say. I think the biggest myth perpetuated on this country is that Donald Trump understands anything about business. He's bankrupt every single one he's been into, and now he's bankrupting this country. So I appreciate you talking about this. This is a tax on working people that we've not seen in any of our lifetimes, and it is going to have dramatic effect.
Okay, I love Tim Walz, and I think that this is a very plain-spoken way to counter all of the insanity that Trump is doing. He's a con man. He's a failed businessman. Anybody who inherits $450 million that is a white man is going to have a really hard time failing all the way completely. But I want to remind everybody, Trump is always traveling with a dark passenger, and that dark passenger is Russia. They bailed him out when American banks wouldn't loan him money any longer. And Elon Musk's dark passenger has always been the United States taxpayer. Tesla was about to go bankrupt. Guess who bailed him out? We did. SpaceX on the verge of bankruptcy. Guess who bailed him out? American taxpayers. These guys can't win anything on their own, yet they want to parade around firing Black people, women, gay people, because they are so inherently insecure and flawed, and they're so broken, they want to break everything around them.
The incompetence of all this, like when I saw the list of countries and found out only penguins were on these islands or military bases, is there no one in that administration that looks at these things? Is there no detail-oriented person? And if you're an American, are you not terrified that the people in power have no expertise or knowledge and nobody talks anybody off the ledge of stupid ideas? It's terrifying.
Tens of millions of Americans went to vote for Kamala Harris. Tens of millions of Americans went to vote for Donald Trump. And then millions sat it out. And we have a major problem in this country. And the problem is the propaganda war that was started by Vladimir Putin and continuing to be executed by right-wing media echo chamber. And Trump and all of his sycophants feed off of all of this hate. But I want to put up my final tweet here that I thought was really interesting from David Klyon. He says, I understand that tens of millions of Americans voted for this, and most of them are just poorly informed and propagandized. But if you have an elite degree, read real newspapers and voted for this. Let's be clear. He said he was going to do all of this. You are too stupid to live. And I want to add to this. I think you're too cruel to live, because there is a huge cancer in this country, and it is people that feast on cruelty. They salivate thinking about minorities being injured. They salivate thinking about rights being taken away from others. They salivate thinking that they are exceptional, that they are supreme. And the majority of the people that feel this way are white people. And then you have a few random bizarros like Kash Patel that are seeking the approval of these white people. But Pumps and I know these white people well. We live in a red state in Oklahoma City. I am not going to sit here to you all, the viewer, and act like, oh, how do people believe this? Because I live in it. I live in a culture where I see this, where it's injected around. People send their kids to schools to ensure that they are taught that they are exceptional. They pay extra money to make sure their kids are homophobic and racist. And this is a problem all across America. It is a cancer where we have devalued justice. We have devalued equal rights. And now it's caught up with us, all in the form of Donald Trump. But this all started in the 80s when Reagan started demonizing the poor, all in the name of God, all in the name of Jesus Christ. And people have bought into it, feasted on it, and feed it nonstop.
I just wonder at what point these churches, their donations are going to reduce because people's income is going to be lower. Donald Trump's flea market is going to sell fewer Trumpy trouts. All of his goods that he sells. So at what point are these people going to feel it economically, and the economic outcome feels worse than how good they feel when they're cruel to other people? That's the balancing act I see. People are not going to run away from Trump while he's still deporting innocent people without due process because they like it. But when their pocketbook starts hurting, then will they pull away, or are they willing to sacrifice money to be cruel to minorities and marginalized groups?
I think it's kind of cooked in. I mean, I'm not religious, but they are a lot of the evangelicals, his core base, that tithing thing is such a big thing. And I remember growing up and one of my friends was a working class mom. Her mom worked at UPS. These are working class people. She would scrape money to make sure she gave it to the pastor at the megachurch that drove a Rolls Royce. And this was in the 80s, she would give $40, $60. And then my friend never had money for lunch. And it was something that I was just mystified by, that she would go and give that money to a preacher that drives a Rolls Royce versus feeding her family. I couldn't understand it, and I still see it going on today, except for now it's worse. The cruelty that these evangelicals feel and they want to exact on the population, and the superiority they feel that they are the experts in everything, is a cancer in this country. And until we address the root causes, I don't know that we get past this. But I hope that some of these people feel this and start to realize the error of their ways. But typically with white people that think they're better than everybody else, they rarely admit fault because nobody's ever made them do it, as evidenced by the fact that Trump should be in prison right now, not wrecking the global economy. All right, you guys stick to our channel and we will see you all later.